Hey, what's happening? Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this morning I started going through the news feeds for the last 2 hours, and there's a lot of heavy stories out there. If you guys watched my video yesterday, I have been I felt a lot of serious anxiety, especially with the big nationwide story of what's happening right here in my city. Last night, there was a procession of, there was uh, a memorial for the officers here in Bristol. And going right in front of my front window here was a procession of police vehicles from all over the state. There was about 80 Harleys, police Harleys, and then a hearse. I think they were going to the funeral home. And then there was hundreds of police cars in a procession. This procession went on for about 20 minutes. Hundreds of police cars going by the building here, just unbelievable. Anyway, today's video, I wanted to make it a little lighter. Okay, so there's a few stories. There's a story I came across from the left, and I don't get it. And now I had a conversation with somebody on the right yesterday, and I want to put both these things under the title of misguided. To me, I'm not saying they're funny, but they're a little lighter in tone than what I was talking about yesterday. So I want to take this up a level. First story I want to talk about: London. Two climate change or climate activists against oil, against fossil fuels. I can identify with that. I've had so many conversations with people on the right. People on the right believe that oil and gas will last forever, that it's a myth that oil is going to ever run out because of fracking and all this other stuff. It'll never run out, which logically just doesn't make any sense to me. There's a finite amount of oil in the earth, and if you Google it, there's only one answer that comes up, and that fossil fuels are going to run out in 40 years. I mean, like, I don't have any kids, so I really shouldn't really care, but I do. The story in Florida where there's a town that is powered completely, I'll put the link down below, completely powered by solar energy right above Fort Myers. And it's the only town in Florida, basically, that didn't lose power. Just some reasons, just some thought to move towards green energy. Okay, so these climate change activists glued themselves to the wall in London at an art exhibit and threw tomato soup all over Van Gogh's sunflower painting. Their reasoning was, is art worth more than food? And I'm an artist, so seeing a classic painting just treated like that really it bothers me. I don't get the connection between fossil fuel and throwing a can of tomato soup on a van. What does Van Gogh have to do with climate change? Honestly, I think they're doing more harm to the movement, to fighting, to moving away from fossil fuels. I think they're doing more harm to this movement. They look a little unstable, by gluing their hands to the wall and throwing tomato soup on a painting. None of it makes any sense to me. None of it connects to anything else. Their reasoning was that, well, gas, fossil fuels makes inflation go up. Inflation makes food cost more. Where Van Gogh and the sunflower painting comes in, I have no idea where that connection is. I think this actually works against the whole green people like me that believe in green energy, that believe in renewable energy. It makes them look crazy. It doesn't make it. You glue yourself to the wall. If you're going to glue yourself to something, glue yourself to a gas pump, or to the sign in front of Sunoco, or something that at least makes a little sense of what you're protesting against. Sunflowers, Van Gogh, tomato soup, Elmer's glue. None of it makes any sense to me. It's ridiculous. All right. The other story I want to talk about: I had a conversation with a hardcore Trump supporter, an elderly person that lives near me here in Bristol yesterday. I just happened to be standing next to him, and we're talking about what happened here in Bristol with the police. And somehow the subject got on. We started to have a little debate. And the subject of ending pregnancies came up. And I talked about the story in Florida where a 15-year-old had to travel a couple states. She was assaulted by a member of her family and became pregnant. I can't use the exact words. You know what I'm talking about here. You know, in interfamily relations. She became pregnant. And I'll put the link right down below. This is a true story. And she had to travel out of state. And I'm like, this is ridiculous with first of all, it's a woman's right to control her body. And then, to have no exceptions with the woman's health, or in cases of this, like with assault or interfamily relations, this is insanity. And the person I'm talking to, the hardcore Trump supporter, that she watches Fox News all the time, that's all she watches. She says, yes, that's socialism for you. It's all the Democrats. The Democrats are causing this. I swear on the Bible. And I was just, my mouth was open. Like, what? Because in this person's head, they didn't understand what socialism to them is anything that they don't like, anything that takes away freedom. That's her definition of socialism. She thinks it's the Democrats' fault of what's going on in these 13 states that have banned this procedure, that it's actually the Democrats. I swear to God. And it's not just this one person that believes this. So I'm like, what do you think socialism is? I think this is actually, she's got it all backwards. Because the people that are against this procedure supposedly don't want their tax dollars. That's their reasoning. Well, it's either God and saving babies, or they don't want it's about their own tax. They think their tax dollars are going for this procedure. And some groups of people are just using this as a form of birth control. That's the truth of the story. So in reality here, like in Florida, these people that are banning this procedure are saying they're fighting against socialism. Their tax dollars going for this procedure. But this lady who votes for Trump, watches Fox News, and is a hardcore conservative, believes the total opposite. She believes socialism is telling somebody what they can and can't do, and it takes away your freedoms. So therefore, it's the Democrats that are banning the procedure, and with this form of socialism. And I tried to explain it to her, and she says, well, then it's got to be communism. It's communism then. And I said, no, it's not communism either. So she says, well, what is it? And I took a second because I wasn't prepared for this level of bizarreness. And it's Christian nationalism, really. And I didn't bother going into, I tried to start talking about what Christian nationalism is, but seriously, this Trump voter, hardcore, she's gonna vote for Donald Trump in 2024. I hope he runs, all just 100% Trump. She's gonna vote all Republican in November and everything. She's against socialism, and she believes that this 15-year-old having to travel a couple states to get this procedure because of being assaulted by somebody in her family, that's the Democrats' fault because it's bad and it takes away freedoms. So it must be socialism and Democrat-funded socialism. Seriously. So somehow along the line here, the Democrats are getting blamed for the Republicans' policies. It's mind-blowing. Like I said, I was just trying to keep this video light. This is a true story, 100% true story. Let me know what you think about both these stories, because misguided. All right, you guys have a good Saturday.